My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
This is Engineer Light. This is sexual assault and battery. This is the people of the state surrounding monitoring. This is a demon. Look at the shadows. And then this is Hazelwood, who's going to prison.
We don't have time for this.
This is the demon. What do you want and why are you touching me? This is the battery. This is the third battery that they conducted at this bus stop. You touched my sleeping bag. Why are you guys always lying after you put your hands on me?
It's your sleeping bag, not you.
That's attached to my person. Why are you touching me? What do you want,
I
Hazelwood?
want you to leave.
Why? I'm on public property. Why are you harassing me
You're not
again?
allowed to do that anymore.
Says who?
Since the city, you're not allowed to camp on.
Where is the city?
What do you mean, where's the city?
Where is the city? It is currently where you're lying. Where you're going? You're going through. You came to conduct a harass. You know you're going to prison, right? That's why you're engaging in this desperate act. It's 3:15 in the morning, and this is the demon. This is the agency engaging in that pattern of conduct. While I am at, first of all, this is the pattern of conduct. These are demons that are going to prison. This is a sexual assault and battery offense by a demon that's engaged in molesting and stalking while wearing a gun, and has engaged in what is repeatedly using criminal summoning to harass and obstruct justice. He is going to federal prison. But second of all, we're going to analyze. I'm on the bus stop, and where are you at? What is going on? I'm on the sidewalk on the at the bus stop. This is the entity engaged in that P.O.C. This is Hazelwood, who engaged in what is attempted kidnapping at the DeBoer Professional Building, and doing so also while I was on the sidewalk there, and also engaging in what is harassment with Vivanco, who's going to federal prison, committing kidnapping at the hometown barbershop. 415 North Euclid Avenue. Centos is gang stalking, crossing path. And it is currently 3:16 a.m. And he engages in what is committing a kidnapping. Hazelwood, is there a reason why you are bothering me? What? Why are you walking away? What do you want? I need you to state it on video. I'm on public property. What else do you want? I'm not leaving on public property, and you don't have the authority to continuously harass me. What else? What else? This is a demon who is, this is aggression. You're analyzing the stalker, and this is demonic, but you're also going to prosecute their psychopathic pacing. They're just monitoring with the police. These are the demons that are going to prison. This is vehicle 1106. And he does commit a battery. That's how I woke up. Nothing else to say? No law or anything? Hello? Excuse me? It's not about sticking in my head. It's about whether you have authority under the law. I'm on the sidewalk on public property. What is the law? I am on the sidewalk. I am. This is not camping. And first and second of all, I'm on the sidewalk. But go ahead. Are you writing a citation? You're going to prison anyway, so go ahead. Is there anything else? Because I'm going back to sleep. Huh? Yeah, I am. And I've been doing that. And I'm going to prosecute you. You're going to prison. And I'm going back to sleep. What else do you want? Because you're desperate. You already know you're going to prison, so you're engaged in that. And that's also why you're going to federal prison. The entity commits murder under these desperate circumstances. And that's why you're blatantly engaging in what is harassment under these circumstances where you don't even have in their alternate universe where they exercise authority fictitiously. All right, maliciously while they're gang stalking. He doesn't even have in those circumstances authority under the law. And they're blatantly gang stalking. Hazelwood is severely mentally ill. This is a demon-possessed person, and this is psychopathic. This is the agency. I want to be clear. Mike LORENZ is indeed mentally ill. He's a sex offender, and so is Hazelwood. These are demons engaging in the pattern of conduct. That's light activity, while a demon is engaging in what is aggressive behavior, monitoring, with the people that say crossing path, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path. That's the agency's P.O.C. It is currently 3:19 a.m. And this is Owens. These are the same demons engaging in criminal summoning, attempted kidnapping at the DeBoer Professional Building, ongoing harassment at the 7-Eleven. And this is at public property. So this is just monitoring. P.O.C. This is Owens, right? That is Owens. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. This is all audible activity. Do you guys want to explain? Because I've already explained you don't have a. So is there another reason why you want to give while you're harassing right now? Yeah, this you are. I'm on public property right now. And yeah, you guys have been engaging with keeping me under surveillance while I remain on public property. Why are you harassing me now? I'm going back to sleep. I can't hear you.
It's not in our budget to keep surveillance on it.
I don't think you're speaking for the city that's engaging in surveillance using the county vehicles to engage in what is criminal monitoring. This is demonic. And it's also criminal activity by the police department who are engaging in that with the people of the state who are engaging in the same psychopathic pacing. P.O.C. And they're doing this while I remain at the bus stop. This is, again, Tracy Banks is going to prison, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. So is Mike LORENZ for the pattern of conduct by this agency and the individual demons, the corrupt, they're not police officers, but the state actors are what they represent that are engaging in this form of the pattern of conduct by exercising fictitious authority under the law when they're engaged in criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. Remember L. Edwards and J. Sandoval? You have D. Rodriguez, you have C. Gerber, and also you have what is A. Ornelas. They're all engaging in what is this, again, they're all monitoring together. This is where the fake sun rises. This is an iteration of what is Stalking would like the spotlight on me and what is the engineered environment. This is the demon possessed engaging in that with those that are bearing weapons in these police vehicles, engaging in the same pattern of conduct. This is a molestation, doing it while you are engaging in what is a threat to commit kidnapping upon that criminal pattern of conduct, and they're blatantly doing it while I'm on public property, right? They're engaged in that pattern of conduct, however. Just want to be clear on that. And these are the two same clowns that I've documented engaging in the pattern of conduct while wearing these police uniforms, and they're both going to prison. Just want to be clear. And Mike LORENZ is going to prison for the pattern of conduct by this agency that's engaging in criminal surveillance, stalking by the helicopter, stalking in police uniforms and in vehicles. And they're sharing the pattern of conduct. For example, when I'm documenting the Fontana Police Department engaging in the same pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. And this is Hazelwood and Owens. They are both going to federal prison. And this is demon possession. It's 3:22 a.m. Owens is operating vehicle 1108. And that's activity creation as he walks to the vehicle and walks back. This is pacing while they're monitoring. And so is this. This is pacing on Euclid Avenue. P.O.C. I do want to document, that's the entity crossing path, light activity. I do want to document, this is the second time the entity is engaged in what is interrupting my sleep. Another state actor, because these are all state actors, engages in the same conduct, a battery, in order to wake me up, interfering with my sleep right here, to ask me a stupid question. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is interruption of my sleep while I'm here at the bus stop, and the entity is doing this by the Ontario Police Department engaging in the same purpose. I just want to be clear. Just want to document that. This demon parks on the side of the curb. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And this demon's engaging in a battery, touching my leg in order to wake me up. This demon engages in a battery, touches on my head in order to wake me up. And this is the actual objective while they already know that they don't have authority in the law. This is harassment. And these are the things that they're engaging in while they're engaging in what are actually petty goals, all right? But I just want to be clear, they're going to prison for it based on the unlawful threat to American citizens. Bearing guns, turning on your sirens, running somebody over in the middle of the street. This is what LAPD did while they're gang stalking. Wearing guns, representing law enforcement agencies when you're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. When you're engaging in what is blatantly harassing, you're on public property. This is nothing other than engaging the P.O.C. and also the objective. They're doing the same thing that the people of the state are doing earlier tonight, harassing me by committing a battery in order to interrupt my sleep, asking me what do you want, and this third party was just like, they're monitoring. But speaking of something, I just want to know, do you know where a Chase Bank is? This demon was, well, at least there was a third party in the vehicle here because he was not necessarily operating the vehicle, but you have a stopped vehicle, 1 o'clock in the morning, and this third party that's feigning as though he was operating this vehicle, he stops on the side of the road to wake somebody up that's asleep at the bus stop to ask me if there's a Chase Bank. The purpose of it was the entity to wake me up, and that's what they're doing as well. I just want to make sure I document that. It's 3:25 a.m. Alrighty, it is 3:27 a.m. and the demon possessed. This is the entity that doesn't have authority under the law, that's engaged in gang stalking and is aware of all the evidence that's published on the internet in order to prosecute them, and have already lost in what is the endeavor to conduct what is the murder contract while they've been engaged in criminal surveillance for a term of years and are still gang stalking. This is relevant to how I'm going to prosecute the people and the entity that's acting directly, and engage in what is remaining silent, not stating a word after it's blatantly clear. First of all, you don't have authority. Literally don't have authority under the law. Unfortunately, even if I were stealing something from Chevron, I'm still going to prosecute for gang stalking, and the entity doesn't have authority. They're engaging in what is criminal activity, but the entity is engaging in that while they're blatantly targeting me while I'm on public property, and they're remaining silent, just being quiet, and while they're monitoring and engaging in what is stalling, and it's the P.O.C. But I just want to be clear, the entity that doesn't have any authority in the law, they're just engaging in what is harassment, just sitting here, walking back and forth, keeping light on you, monitoring as a demon, and doing so while they are engaging in what is basically trying to maintain what is the elements of monitoring, while they're doing so as a basically it's nothing other than what is harassment by a so-called police department that you're engaged. You're going to listen to what he's stating, but you're not, because all he's doing is monitoring. All right. Do we have something to say? Yeah.
All right, Eric, I need you to get out of your sleeping bag.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
Because you're under arrest
For what?
for camping.
Camping under what, the municipal code?
5-23.03A.
That's the municipal code, right?
Yep.
All right. So do you know we're
I'm
camping?
not going to go through this with you like we go through it every single time. I just told you you're under arrest. I need you to get out of your
Oh,
sleeping
okay. And this is at 3:28 a.m. at the bus stop under the municipal code. Okay, and this is Owens and Hazelwood, right?
Yep.
This is P.O.C. and this is kidnapping by the entity that's engaged in that with the people of the state. P.O.C.
bag. You want to set everything down, or do you want me to take you out of your sleeping bag?
No, I'm gonna get out of the sleeping bag. You're about to commit kidnapping, right?
Yep.
All right. He's admitting to engaging in kidnapping as well while they're engaged in that at the bus stop. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, what else?
Just leave everything there and just go ahead and stand up. Stand up and then turn around.
Okay. Alrighty, I'm gonna keep my phone recording.
Hands behind your back.
Alright, the entity is conducting a kidnapping by Hazelwood and Owens while they're monitoring and doing so while I am on public property at the same bus stop. This is P.O.C. F Street in Euclid. Alrighty, this is an ongoing battery while he's touching my person, and an unlawful search, sexual assault and battery, and while they're monitoring. This is all activity creation as well, simultaneous. Those are the batch numbers. All right, the video that you just listened to is evidence of the kidnapping that I was subject to by the same agency that is surrounded with the evidence of a pattern of conduct for which police chiefs that are engaged in criminal summoning are revealed as no longer secretly remaining amongst what is authorities in the city, in the state, as nothing other than a domestic terrorist leader, and that's what Mike LORENZ and Derek Williams represent. Mike LORENZ is the current terrorist leader whose pattern of conduct of this agency and the pattern of conduct by even Hazelwood and Owens, who have engaged in a documented pattern of targeting me while wearing police uniforms, that is gang stalking police, which is an oxymoron. They are engaged in criminal surveillance in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, and they're doing so with impunity, while the entity that is engaged in what is federal stalking, that is gang stalking me, in furtherance of my murder with regard to what is also having been compensated to target me, gang stalking me in concert with the population, gang stalking me with regard to the criminal and fraudulently procured relevant aspects with regard to fake conservatorship surrounding me, and also what is also engineered marriage to me on paper, which is not a real marriage to myself. This is the entity that is relevant. These are facts that are relevant to the targeting by the Ontario police, who are mentally ill while they engage in stalking, and they are simultaneously stalking while exercising authority that they don't have as a police department, that are engaged in criminal surveillance, and they're doing that with the people of the state. In the video that you are listening to, it's all audible activity. It's happening at 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is documented rising and setting. That is remaining for the duration of the day, and that is also clearly seen in the documentation in concert with the Ontario International Airport that you hear stalking just like this. Alrighty, this is the city of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport, that's been maintaining ongoing patrolling, stalking while I'm remaining at the Ontario Town Square, doing so in concert with the people of the state. And the reason why this is the entity that is stalking with light in the path, that's Securitas, that's gang stalking. That's gang stalking is relevant with regard to the elements of simultaneously underway while the airport is clearly targeting. Remember, they're flying over my head at the OVITT Family Community Library entrance. They're flying at a different trajectory based on where I'm located, and they're doing this at the square 224 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting the fake sun rising and setting over me. In the city of Ontario, the entity is gang stalking me at the bus stop, which is north of this location, where they're engaging what is stalking with the people of the state, stalking under the fake sun that's rising and setting over me on this street. This is the city of Ontario. It's relevant to the Ontario Municipal Code that you hear the gang stalkers Hazelwood and Owens relying upon in order to engage in what is a kidnapping, where the people of the state are gang stalking with the city of Ontario, that includes the Ontario International Airport, that's actively engaging what is criminal conduct and furtherance of murder, while referring to what is the Ontario Municipal Code law that they do not have authority under, while they're engaging in what is criminal activity, and they are responsible for what is the homelessness state that I'm currently in. The entity is not only engaged in targeting me at the workplace, like the evidence of LAPD at Alvarado Gardens shows, and my documentation in 2018 working for the law offices of Michael Bialis in Los Angeles, but the entity is also engaged in what is the documentation of the Ontario Police Department, the city of Ontario, with the people of the state committing kidnapping, which is an unlawful eviction, in order to create this circumstance so that demons and psychopaths engaging in psychopathic pacing and engineer light, this is what they're doing. They're monitoring, and they're doing so in vehicles. They're doing so under the fake sun, and this is all engineer light with the government. That's referring to the municipal code, while they create that financial economic circumstance. That's the entity that does not have legitimacy, and that's the entity that is engaged in what is kidnapping, and that's what Hazelwood and Owens and the people of the state engaged in together. They're engaged in psychopathic pacing in the video. They're engaged in monitoring and the molestation, sexual assault, and battery, while the gang stalkers themselves, they share in that pattern of conduct. And these are the demons that are losing custody of their kids. They're going to be deported out of the country, and their mental illness is exhibited but while they're stalking, and they engage in this in order to commit the elements of monitoring. The entities engage in this at what is 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is present, as I documented 7 in the morning, and as I documented yesterday, December 18, 2025, the fake sun over me in the afternoon at 1 o'clock at that same bus stop. That's where Hazelwood and Owens are engaging in molestation with the people who are engaged in psychopathic pacing. They're monitoring me. They're all stalking. They're gang stalking in furtherance of my murder, while referring to what is the Ontario Municipal Code, where these, again, officials are engaged in criminal activity, including the city of Ontario. That is documented gang stalking me day to day. That's the entity that's referring to the Ontario Municipal Code. So I just want to document that. This is the entity that creates that circumstance and then engages in what is kidnapping. This is the entity that's engaging in that while they are acting in furtherance of murder, and it is federal prison. Pay attention to the light that's moving across the pot right here. These are demons. They're psychopaths. These are the vagina monitors and the feces consumers, and they stalk with children who are equally mentally ill, and they engaged in kidnapping with regard to my damning and humiliating evidence that I'm publishing on the internet. That act of kidnapping documented at 3 in the morning. This is the entity that engages in that with the intent to obstruct justice, and they're still stalking. This is the entity coming in close proximity. This is P.O.C. I just want you to see the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so in that environment where they have the multiple shadows and they're focusing their attention on the Christmas tree, which is, again, a means of what is the entity's malice. They're doing so while the fake sun is over me, while they're doing the same mentally ill behavior. They do so with minor children inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. The entity's doing so where the airport is stalking, and they're doing so where the people of the state, the sex offenders that are molesting with that which is not their headlights. That is indeed the P.O.C. It is currently 9:24 p.m. It is 10:10 p.m. and that is the entity that is stalking at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where I remain in engineer light, and the people of the state are stalking as well with the engineer light, keeping me and my activity on the internet under surveillance. So as I type in Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the entity is engaging in what is stalking by commercial plane, certifiable conduct, doing so while the airport is actually miles away south of Holt Boulevard, and the entity is necessarily, first of all, already stalking to engage in simultaneous activity creation, hovering over the 224 North Euclid Avenue, which is miles away from what are the 2500 Airport Drive, Terminals 2 and Terminal 4. This is the City of Ontario engaging in what is a kidnapping and referring to what is the Ontario Municipal Code in order to fictitiously exercise authority while they're conspiring murder and engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, which is no exercise of authority under the Municipal Code, and it's an ongoing threat to my life. The entity is subject to federal prison for kidnapping, and the entity is fully engaged in what is facing federal prison. That's impunity that the Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario, the people of the state, and the demons Hazelwood and Owens, and the people of the state, the demon that's pacing with Owens at the beginning of the video. These are sick people that are monitoring me while they're engaging in what is gang stalking together, while one is masquerading as a authorized police officer, and the City of Ontario that's stalking me in commercial planes shares in that criminal pattern of conduct. The entity that's engaging in this conduct with impunity, such as what is demonstrated on video, such as the kidnapping that I'm subject to. This is relevant to the sentencing for Tracy Banks, for Jason Isaac Fields, for demons such as Owens and Hazelwood, and the gang stalking pilots who are subject to federal prison as well. This is P.O.C. It's 10:12 p.m. 10:21 p.m. And this is the same impunity shown by the Ontario Police Department, who engage in what are ongoing acts of kidnapping, creating a hardship, stealing my property and my money, stealing my blankets, my gloves, my beanie to stay warm at night, stealing what is my food that's also in my property because they're hostile to what it is that I'm exposing that they are doing. This is the entity that's blatantly stalking and doing so while it is clear targeting by that airport, which you already know. They're engaging what is stalking me all up and down the City of Ontario. They're hovering west of this location at the Stater Brothers. They're hovering while I'm at the Coin Laundry on that end of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. They're doing so while I'm showing you the fake sun from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the shopping center, and then there's no sun whatsoever over the OVITT Family Community Library as I go to that venue at 10 in the morning and show you what's happening when I'm away from that venue at 10 and I arrive after
11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the entity is stalking me by planes and doing so with the Ontario Police Department. This is relevant to what I am looking up on my phone. The fact that the Los Angeles Police Department are directly responsible, which is this same entity, for what is the financial circumstance, only financial, which this entity that is gang stalking utilizes while they are abusing and exercising fictitious authority under the law to manufacture mental illness, to commit what are acts of kidnapping under circumstances that they have created, such as homelessness, when I cannot go to work without the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles County Fire Department, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department stalking me and flying in circles around me and flying over the top of my head by helicopter, both where I work and where I live, under the fake sun that is rising and setting as a matter of documentation within the P.O.C. This is 2024 at Alvarado Gardens, Speaker Companies Incorporated, which are being prosecuted while the city of Ontario is stalking me with commercial planes and kidnapping me by the people of the state and the Ontario Police Department. The entity is engaging in what is this ongoing psychopathic pacing? While I'm looking up this evidence, which I'm going to include in the video, regarding what is kidnapping that this same city of Ontario committed, while it is also simultaneously referring to the Ontario Municipal Code, that are not ordinances created for a corrupt government to engage in criminal activity and then exercise fictitious authority under said ordinances in order to commit criminal acts. That's not what those laws are created for. That's not what ordinances are created for. That's not what policies are created for. That's not how a legitimate government exercises authority under the law. That's not the spirit of such laws either. The entity is going to federal prison for this. This is P.O.C. As I am explaining, the pattern of conduct is underway while I'm subject to what are the entity that's engaging in what are arrests, which are acts of terrorism. This is kidnapping that I'm subject to while the Ontario police are stalking me. And they're stalking with regard to what is a contract to commit murder. They are also engaged in what is demonstrating impunity. This is the entity that is fully aware of the fact that it is exposed all over the internet. The entity that is aware of the fact that the evidence and the details of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, to steal money and property from me, to share in that criminal objective with terrorists like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, who are subject to federal prison for everything that is encapsulated within the P.O.C., where they have engaged in what are stealing my identity, stealing property from me, and soliciting this entity, this government, to do so, to share in that. This is relevant to the impunity that is exhibited by the entity that is gang stalking on video while simultaneously claiming to be writing a citation under existing law while that government is in violation of the law. The violation of the law is no small thing. It's no tortious act. This is not a tortfeasor. This is a co-conspirator of murder. And this is a co-conspirator of murder that makes up an entire entity that is invested in murder and that is invested in what is ongoing targeting, including with the population. And this is the entity that's engaging in kidnapping together. The thousands and thousands of people that are stalking me are monitoring me together with the Ontario Police Department, Hazelwood and Owens. They are together engaging in what are stealing my money, stealing my property, taking everything that I have while I'm sleeping outside and nothing other than my what I have on my person. I don't even have my driver's license, while the entity is taking that which doesn't belong to me and kidnapping me, taking me from one place to another without my consent, while they are engaged in what is federal stalking. This is surveillance that they're maintaining in order to stalk me until the point that they can take my life. And the entity having already engaged in what is conspiring, soliciting, and attempted murder. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in what is kidnapping. While you are seeking to engage in what is murder, which is relevant to gang stalking, and this is a proven fact, you do not have authority under the municipal code. This is axiomatic as well. This is automatic. This is not why these laws are created. Moreover, the entities responsible for the homeless state that I'm in, and it bears no reflection on the character of myself, obviously, or any American citizen. It is not anything that is relevant also to mental illness. It has nothing that is relevant to diagnosing mental illness, and that is also clearly seen where the entity is targeting you at work, a job that you can no longer go to without feeling unsafe and threatened, and that is necessarily going to have a financial impact that is inevitable, and you cannot engage in what is going to any other workplace without being subject to that pattern of conduct, which is proven. It is not imagined, and it is not some sort of hallucinating circumstance, which is also why the P.O.C. is documented. The entity is not only responsible for the financial situation that you're in, the entity is engaged in what is deliberately creating in order to then target you based on that circumstance, meaning they are stalking me. They create that circumstance so that they can continuously target and stalk me and engage in this kidnapping, which is also then thereby creating what is the criminal defamation on the internet. When they are engaged in targeting me and I am documenting them, remember the ordinary target individual isn't maintaining the P.O.C. They are stalking me and targeting me in furtherance of murdering me, and I am documenting them, and that is the entity that's engaged in what is repeatedly kidnapping. This is what is under my name, Erica Lorraine Spencer, all over the internet by that same agency, the Ontario Police, including by Hazelwood and Owens. The entity is stalking the downtown Ontario luxury apartment, stalking with Impossible Light. That's Sarah's Regis Group that's going to be prosecuted for conspiring my murder. The fake sun rising and setting at that apartment complex, which is across the street from the OVITT Family Community Library, where the Ontario International Airport that is stalking now is sharing in the pattern of chronic psychopathic pacing, and they committed kidnapping. This is why the airport is being shut down. The airport is also a national security threat because they commit murder, just like you see UPS engaging in Kentucky. This entity committed kidnapping, theft of my money and property, damage to my property. Hazelwood threw my property away, and this is a demon that is very much hostile because they are humiliated and they are very much enraged by my description of this entity that is every bit of what it is that I've stated. And they are also hostile because of the fact that I am proving, because I've won. In other words, and it's not funny, this is the entity that commits murder. And you don't have the evidence of the P.O.C. and they get away with it. This is the entity that committed kidnapping. And Jason Fields and Tracy Banks are going to federal prison, including Hazelwood and Owens. You have what is Mike Lorenz, who was a sex offender, who was engaged in a pattern of conduct by virtue of demons, psychopaths. Hazelwood is exhibiting severe mental illness as that evidence is studied, and he is sharing in criminal activity with the people of the state, which is relevant in that it's clearly seen in that video. And he's doing so as a means to obstruct justice based on my evidence that's published on the internet. And the entity is engaged in criminal conduct right now. That is stalking, which is mentally ill, certifiable conduct while you are masquerading as a police department. That is psychopathic in and of itself. The entity is engaged in what is creating a hardship, taking every dollar that I have, after what is interfering with my liberty right to maintain employment and not be subject to terrorism in the workplace, and then engaging in what is an unlawful eviction while I'm subject to the pattern of conduct with Tracy Banks on May 29, 2025, where the Ontario Police have not stopped gang stalking me for one moment. And engaging what is kidnapping every time. They are always engaging in criminal conduct while you are referring to what are the fruits of your criminal activity and using that to create what is a paper trail that is defaming my character. You're going to prison for that. And this is exactly what Jason Fields and Tracy Banks and this entity relies upon. And it is under no circumstances aiding in the criminal acts that this entity has already committed. And Jason Fields is going to prison under all circumstances. It's not going to retroactively make legitimate what are the thefts that I've been subject to. It's also not going to give them any sort of access to me. It's also not any sort of defense or anything relevant with regard to helping this defendant that is the U.S. government and terrorists like Jason Fields and Tracy Banks. The entity is merely doing it to harass me. And this is relevant to the prosecution of the U.S. government. Like I stated, the government is not protecting me. The government is not present, engaging in what is any sort of protection from that. Owens, very well, he's an unstable psychopath. The demons and Hazelwood, and so are the people of the state. And this is the entity that is threatening my life, and anything, including taking my life, could have happened, and is still at threat. And the entity is not protecting me. And this is relevant because the entity does not want me to get my money, my inheritance, that which was left to me, that which was under my name. And this entity stole it and has been gang stalking me, defaming me, and keeping it a secret from me, and is still doing so while they are being simultaneously exposed. That's what's relevant behind the city of Ontario stalking me and then committing kidnapping in reference to what is the Ontario Municipal Code. This is P.O.C.